Today, we're diving deep into a cosmic mystery that has some of the world's top scientists in a fierce debate. We're talking about the truly strange case of an object called 3I/Atlas.
So let's start with a wild question. What if a messenger, a piece of a long-dead star system billions of years older than our own, just silently cruised through our cosmic neighborhood? What kind of story would it tell? What secrets would it be carrying? Well, this isn't just science fiction. Back in 2025, this exact scenario happened, and it kicked off a global scientific firestorm.
Our story begins with the arrival of a true alien. And no, I don't mean in the little green men sense, but a visitor that is genuinely not from around here. Its appearance was a total surprise. Its behavior was baffling. And the questions it raised? Well, they challenged the very foundations of how we see our place in the universe.
Okay, before we go any further, let's get on the same page about what we're talking about here. An interstellar object isn't just some random rock from our own asteroid belt. The key thing to get is this. It's not from here. It is not part of our solar system's family. It was born around a different star, traveled for maybe millions, maybe even billions of years through the empty void, and it's just passing through on a one-way trip. It's a true outsider. This visitor was given the name 3I/Atlas, and it was first spotted on July 1st, 2025. Now, what makes this a huge deal is just how rare these things are. I mean, we've been scanning the skies for centuries, right? And this was only the third time in all of human history we've ever confirmed an object from another star system. That alone makes it unbelievably special.
And this chart really shows just how special it is. When you line 3I/Atlas up against the other two visitors we've had, it's just different. It's an outlier in practically every single category. First, look at the size. We're talking Manhattan-sized, way, way bigger than Oumuamua. Then check out the velocity, a staggering 58 kilometers per second. That's the fastest we've ever clocked for one of these visitors. But the number that just blows your mind is its age. You know, what this chart really tells me is that while our second visitor, Borisov, was a pretty normal-looking comet, our first and third visitors were both just super weird. Kind of makes you wonder if weird is actually the norm for these travelers, doesn't it?
9.6 billion years. Just let that number sink in for a second. Our entire solar system, Earth included, is only about 4.5 billion years old. This thing is more than twice as old as our own world. It's not just a rock, it's a pristine archaeological artifact. It's basically a piece of a solar system that formed, lived, and died long before our own sun even flickered into existence. We think it came from an ancient part of the Milky Way called the Thick Disk. This thing is literally a messenger from the dawn of our galaxy.
Okay, now I know with all this talk of a massive, super-fast object hurtling through space, it's pretty natural to feel a little bit uneasy. So let's just get this out of the way right now. The official scientific consensus from NASA, from the European Space Agency, from everyone who matters, is unanimous. This object posed absolutely zero threat to Earth. Its closest pass was 270 million kilometers away. That's almost twice the distance from us to the Sun. So any and all theories about an impact or a landing are just completely, provably false. We're safe.
So, with the safety question totally settled, we can get to the real heart of the mystery. The real drama with 3I/Atlas isn't about danger, it's about one single glaring contradiction that left scientists totally stunned. And it all revolves around the case of its missing tail.
So here's a quick look at its little tour through our solar system. It was detected in July, zipped past Mars in early October, but the key date for our story is October 29th. That's when it hit perihelion, its closest and therefore hottest point in its journey around our sun. And that's when things were supposed to get really, really interesting for a comet.
See, on its way in, 3I/Atlas was playing by the rules. It was behaving exactly like we'd expect. The Hubble Space Telescope looked at it and confirmed it was active. It had that fuzzy cloud of gas and dust around it called a coma, and what was described as a cool, teardrop-shaped cocoon of dust. It was officially classified as a comet because, well, it looked and acted just like one. So far, so good.
And then came the big twist. After it whipped around the sun, after getting blasted with the absolute maximum amount of solar heat, scientists took another look. And the tail was gone. It had just vanished. Instead of a huge, bright plume of gas and dust, which is what should have happened, it was just a tiny, compact point of light. All that activity had just stopped, right when it should have been at its most spectacular.
This is it. This is the central question that kicked off the entire firestorm of controversy. It's a massive scientific contradiction. I mean, it's like throwing a bucket of water on a bonfire and watching the flames get bigger.
It just doesn't make any sense. It challenges the fundamental assumption that 3I Atlas is a normal, natural comet. And this, my friends, is where the debate gets really, really heated.
The mystery of the missing tail basically split the scientific community right down the middle, creating this fascinating public debate that was personified by two very brilliant, very public figures. On one side, you have the explanation that it's natural, just, really exotic. And on the other side, you have an explanation that is, well, not natural at all.
Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb started connecting the dots, and he argued that all these weird anomalies were actually clues pointing to an artificial origin. Let's look at his case, piece by piece. First, the orbit itself was just wildly improbable. Second, it conveniently hit its closest point to the sun on the far side from us, the absolute perfect spot to perform a hidden engine burn to slow down. Third, the chemical analysis of the little bit of gas it did release was just bizarre, almost no water and way more nickel than any comet we've ever seen. But here was the clincher. He made a prediction. He said, hey, if this thing is moving because of natural gas jets, it must have lost over 5 billion tons of material, a cloud so huge we couldn't possibly miss it. When the tail vanished, it proved that massive cloud didn't exist. His prediction came true.
So, all of that evidence led Professor Loeb to his now famous, and let's be honest, extremely controversial conclusion that 3I/Atlas might not be a rock at all. It might be a piece of technology, maybe even one with active intelligence, sent here by another civilization.
Whoa. The pushback from the mainstream scientific community was, as you can imagine, swift and it was firm. And it was probably best summed up by physicist Brian Cox. He called the whole alien idea drivel and stated that the object is entirely natural, just a comet, whose strange behavior can be explained by natural processes we just haven't figured out yet.
So what's really going on here isn't just a debate about one weird space rock. It's actually a philosophical battle over the scientific method itself. On one side, you have the traditional, skeptical approach, championed by Cox. You assume it's natural until you have overwhelming, extraordinary proof otherwise. But on the other side, you have Loeb's anomaly hunting approach. He argues that for these potentially world-changing black swan events, you have to investigate the weird stuff, because the normal rules of proof might cause us to miss something truly incredible.
Now, of course, a high-profile scientific fight like this is going to spill over into the public, and that's exactly what happened. It spawned a whole bunch of pretty wild theories and a lot of misinformation. So let's take a quick second to separate the serious scientific ideas from the purely sensational stuff.
One of the biggest claims came from Elon Musk, who pointed out that an object this big and this fast could wipe out an entire continent. And look, this is what's known as a category error. Is the physics right? Absolutely. If an object with that much energy hit us, it would be a catastrophe. But was it a threat from 3I/Atlas? Not at all. The actual risk was zero. So by mixing up the object's potential energy with its actual path, the statement, while technically correct, ended up being pretty misleading about the real-world risk. And then you have the really out-there speculation, that the object isn't just intelligent, but that it's hostile, like something out of the dark forest sci-fi novels. This slide shows you exactly how you build a theory like that. It's a speculation ladder. Each step rests on the one below it, and not a single one of them is supported by any evidence. You have to assume it's non-natural, then assume it's artificial, then assume it's intelligent, and then take this giant leap into pure speculation that it's hostile. It's a fun thought experiment for sure, but there's no basis for it in any of the actual data we have. So, if it's not a spaceship and it's not a threat, then what is it? What's the true meaning of this mysterious messenger? After all the debate, all the speculation, where has the science actually landed? Well, the verdict from the wider scientific community is that while Loeb's anomalies are totally real and super fascinating, the whole alien tech idea just doesn't clear that very high bar of extraordinary proof. But that doesn't mean it's just a boring old comet. The data is actually pointing to something almost as revolutionary, an entirely new class of natural object. All its weird properties, the low water, the high nickel, the missing tail, they all strongly suggest it's a dry interstellar body. Maybe even a chunk of the core or the mantle of an exoplanet that got shattered billions of years ago.
This chart pretty much sums it all up. The idea that it's an alien spaceship, vanishingly small probability. The idea that it's just a normal comet, that's actually contradicted by the hard data like the missing tail. The most likely explanation, the one supported by the evidence we have, is that 3I Atlas has revealed a third option we never even knew existed.
a whole new type of natural object that's forcing us to completely rethink how planets form across the entire galaxy.
So 3I/Atlas is now heading back out into the void. It's on a path that will carry it away from our solar system forever. It showed up, it completely puzzled us, and it taught us that the universe is way more varied and strange than we ever imagined. And it leaves us with one final tantalizing question. As our telescopes get better and we start finding more and more of these visitors, what incredible secrets will the next interstellar messenger have to show us?